I'm Katie, and I'm in Brisbane. So it's just after 6 a.m. here, and I think I was up till midnight working. So it was a bit of a shock when my alarm went off. I've lived here for about 19 years, and my background's in HR and recruitment. So I've been out of corporate since April 2020, and I think I've just been trying to figure out what I want to do and what I feel drawn to doing, and I seem to have settled back on what I was doing in corporate, but doing it for myself. So I'm a romantic, which was very high, followed by connector and nurturer, which seem to switch around each time I do the quiz, but romantic is always very high. And my bottom two are ruler and accumulator.
So what was your first reaction, either to the name or to the description of hearing that you were a romantic? Or was it just one of those things where you went, oh my God, that is totally me?
When I found out I was romantic, I think I would have been absolutely floored if I wasn't romantic. So it just, everything just made sense. And even now when I'm doing my marketing, or, I was trying to launch a product that I really did not want to do, did not like. But I kept having to go back going, just try and appeal to the romantics, because they won't want you to, walk them through it all. They'll just go, yay, this is great. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer when I saw romantic. It definitely fitted more than everything else.
So the next question I want to ask you is, have you always been like this? Okay, so I'll just type it in here as well. Think about your childhood and being a baby romantic. That's what I'm putting there. So I want to hear, and we started with Jenny last time, so we'll start with Katie for this time. Think about you as a kid. Were you teased for wanting what you wanted? Did your family have a nickname for you? Someone was saying at the start about being called spoiled. What were some of the signs that you were a romantic even from a really young age?
So I was always called the princess, and so I'm the oldest of three. My sister was always a tomboy, and then I've got a brother, so I was obviously very feminine. Loved pretty things, loved pink things, constantly wanted to just redecorate my bedroom. Like, I'd get my dad to take me to B&Q, which is Bunnings or the hardware store, on a Saturday. I'd go to my disco dancing lesson, then we go to B&Q so I could pick out paint and wallpaper samples, and I'd go home and I would want to design the most amazing bedrooms. And I was always obsessed with interiors and patterns and pretty things, and everything had to be pretty. And a bit of a daydreamer as well, or always thinking about things like that. And I came on holiday to Australia when I was 26, and spoke to my mum and dad from the airport on my way back, saying, I've had job interviews, I'm moving here, it's the best place ever. And my mum just said, I used to watch TV when I was little, and so we're living in cold, rainy, dreary England, and I'd be watching TV shows of America and Australia, like palm trees and all this stuff, and I would just be sulking and in a mood going, I can't believe that all of these really lucky children were born in these beautiful countries and I'm here. It's not fair. Like, how did I get born here when they've got all this amazing beauty and beaches, and I still call them lucky palms, because I still feel so lucky every time I see palm trees that I actually live in a place where I've got them in the garden now. I think it was always there. I was never very practical, I suppose. Like, if I got money, then I would already have a wish list of what I wanted to go and spend it on. And we didn't have a huge amount of money growing up. We weren't we were middle class. My dad was a doctor, my mum was a nurse, but my mum was very ill. So it's 3 kids, 1 income, it wasn't the best. So we didn't have a lot, but when I got money, I would be, right, what can I go and spend this on? And I was never worried about things money not coming back to me. And I think that's been a bit of a theme throughout my whole life. Been in some really dire situations, I lived in Ibiza one summer, and and just completely ran out of money, couldn't pay the rent, nothing. But I was not going to go and get a job. So in the end, my dad said, I think one of my great aunts had died and left us all some money. So suddenly I had, you know, £5,000 in my bank account to take care of me for the rest of the summer. So I think I've always had that kind of attitude when I was younger and kind of growing up and through my teen years and stuff.
So now I want to go, and we're going to start with Tennille for this one. I want to go to your businesses and how your romantic is showing up in your business. And I want to do sabotages first. You know, where is it sabotaging your income or, you know, your enjoyment of your business, or where is it kind of clashing? So a couple of examples could be the procrastination thing of just never feeling like it's the right timing, or you can't be bothered, or if things get a little bit hard, maybe you ditch them. It could be around team. So, you know, you could get really enthusiastic about a project, but not necessarily give all the information to your team, or you just haven't got around to team. It could come up in your pricing. So Stacey, especially when you talk, you know, like, were you able to make sure you were pricing appropriately for all of the quality materials that you put in? You know, is it showing up in the type of clients that you're attracting? Or, you know, especially think back to before you did SMA. So it might not be now, it might be, you know, at the start of your business, little things that you saw were kind of sabotaging you from making money.
Okay. That was interesting, listening to what you were all saying. So, and I can relate to Tennille. I've always had this thing about not wanting to work, and I've had some fabulous jobs. I've been in, you know, really, really fantastic 6-figure salaries with like really prestigious global organizations. I've always felt like I was the child. I'm there, I'm playing dress ups in this big corporate role, and I'm looking around at all these other people going, oh my God, you're real corporate people. And I'm there like running, you know, national recruitment and national graduate recruitment campaigns for like a big 4 accounting firm. You know, and I'm still there thinking that I'm there playing dress ups and I don't really know what I'm doing. And why can't I just marry a rich man? I'm actually I'm engaged. I've been married, and I remember we had to go through marriage counselling, and it was funny because my now ex-husband is very frugal. He's from the north of England. He's a Yorkshireman, so he's really tight. And this thing came up, and it's haunted me for years, where he said, I said something in this marriage counselling session going, well, I love money and I want more of it. And that was used as a kind of put down for me for years and years and years. But I kept going, I do just love money and I do want more of it, but I really don't want to have to work really hard to get it. I just want to have it, you know. And I used to think, I just want to meet a really rich man. But there's a big part of me that's like, no, I can do this on my own. I don't need to be supported. But I do want your money. So I've had this going through my work and my business. So I have my children very close together. I went on mat leave from the very large accounting firm I was with, and had my first son. And then 3 months later, found out I was pregnant again. And so there's only 11 months between my 2 boys. So I didn't go back to corporate. I couldn't, obviously. And then I started writing resumes just to get some income in, because I think with my ex-husband, one of his things is we never had any money, and he was on a really good 6-figure salary, but somehow we never had any money. And he has this attitude that you don't need more than you need. Anyway, I started writing resumes just to get a bit more income in, and then realized that I could actually work from home for myself. I was also doing a part-time interior design course, because that's always been my passion and what I wanted to do, not writing resumes. When I knew I wanted to leave my ex, I had to get a job. I had to get my ducks in line so that I was ready to leave him and support the kids. So they were only 2 and 3 when we split up, and I was back into corporate. And again, it was a perfect job. It was like the top tier accounting firm or consulting firm, but it was now a mid-tier consulting firm, and it was 3 days a week. So again, went into this job, and I can do this standing on my head. If I've done it for them, I can do it for these guys. Still feeling like I don't know anything, a bit of imposter syndrome. Did manage to negotiate quite a good salary for that one. And then I got made redundant. And at that point I said, right, this is back in 2014, said, right, I'm going to just go out on my own. Or one of the managers was saying, you can do this, you can go out and you can do consulting, you can do HR consulting, you can write resumes. I definitely slipped back into the writing resumes because I didn't have the confidence to go out and consult to other businesses and think that, because I felt like I was pretending, I didn't feel that they could pay me for that because I wasn't good enough, even though I probably was. So now I'm in my own business. I'm a single mum with 2 very young children. But, you know, I somehow muddled through and made it work, still kind of wondering where all this money is going to come from. Anyway, I did end up going back. I got headhunted, went back into corporate again on an incredibly good salary, working for a publicly listed company nationally, running the recruitment, well, designing like values-based recruitment program, putting everything in place. It was a CEO who had headhunted me. He's a friend. And but so much of it was government focused. And I just felt so stifled, unbelievably stifled by all the rules and regulations that go with recruiting into federal government and Department of Defense and things like that. So when I left there, still always got this thing in my head that the money's going to come, I'm going to be a millionaire. I know that I'm going to get a lot of money. I just don't know where it's coming from just yet, but I'm fairly sure it's not going to be me working in a corporate job for 120 grand a year. So I left there, then COVID kind of happened, and that really forced me. So by that point, I'd already met my partner. My boys and I had moved in with him. We got engaged December 2020. And, you know, he works away 2 weeks of the month because he's in the oil and gas industry. So he's on good money. And I just kind of stopped working completely. I didn't do anything. Really hate writing resumes, kept putting my prices up. In fact, I think I put my prices up definitely after being in Money Bootcamp, and I thought I'll just try it, and decided I didn't want to work with men anymore because they're the ones that would be calling me or emailing me at 11 o'clock at night, kind of going, well, I need my resume tomorrow now, or, you know, like, just be my bitch, do my work for me. And I was like, I'm not dealing with that. So I think my resumes were like $300. I put them up to $400. I put it up to $750. I put it up to $1,000, literally thinking, please, nobody buy my resumes. I do not want to do this. I don't want to work. And I think it was when I learned about money being an energetic match. So, and I remember just going, $1,000, this is still not an energetic match. I don't think I could charge $5,000 and want to do this. And that really threw me because I did not know what else to do. And I am I'm really, when I'm passionate about something. So for example, I'm doing a course in surface pattern design, and my playtime is Canva and Adobe Illustrator. Like, that's where I go, or a watercolor pad or acrylic painting or something. That's my happy place. And then I keep going, why aren't I doing something with this? So I keep thinking that will happen down the line. Once I've made some money, then I'll do that, to do it for enjoyment. So I didn't work. I kept saying I was going to work. I've done courses. I've bought 2 incredible coaches. And I think, Denise, I found out about you through one of them, who you work with a lot, Tash. And the other one, I think I signed up through your affiliate program for OTM. And I've taken bits from all these courses going, yeah, I can do it. I'm going to apply it. It's going to be great. And then it just doesn't actually happen because things like launching doesn't appeal to me. I haven't even got something I want to launch yet. I keep thinking, you know, oh, I'll do this. But because my heart's not been in those things, I can't move forward with them. And then it got to the point recently where my fiance was like, you know, you really need to get a job. Like, I've got Kartra, and I set up all these things and all these products to do with resume writing. And then I realized I've set them up to be completely passive because I'm not interested in it. I don't want to do it. I'm holding it at arm's length. And I'm like, why would anybody want to buy that from me if I'm not engaged and invested in that? So cancelled all the system payments like that I spent a lot of money on because I'm not using them. Still thinking, well, it's going to happen. Something's going to happen. It's going to come. And then out of the blue, we've just sold the house. So we've been renovating the house. So I've spent 3 months. We put new bathrooms in. I've personally painted the entire house. But we've just sold it for the figure that I had in my head. So my fiance bought the house for 495,000 3 years ago, and we've just sold it for 920. And 920 was like the wildly out there figure that I had. But I've gone, well, 3 months ago, this house was valued at 830. So I've just made us $90,000. Well, and we had 2 bathrooms put in. But I keep thinking, where's this money coming from? And then my cousin, who also moved to Australia, out the blue asked me if I could help them with some recruitment. They don't want to use recruitment agencies anymore. So they're a freight forwarding company. So I said, yep, I can put in a recruitment process for you. I can design a system, a process so that you can do it yourselves, put the proposal into his boss, and I charged $24,000 for it. And he went for it. And I will be billing all of that over a period of 4 weeks. And just gone, oh, the money just came. The money's just come. So there's that kind of romantic part of me going, you knew it would come. You said it would come. And look, here it is. Like 1 minute you're going, how are we going to feed the kids or pay the plumber? And then the next minute where I'm just rolling in this money. So I've spent the first third that I got in because I charged part of it up front. And it's just like, I feel like I have no strategy. So I don't have a team. I'm not good at working with people. I've got someone working with me at the moment to do some of this work, because 4 weeks is pretty intense to get it all done. So she designed a competency framework for me. Last night I sat there and rewrote the whole thing because it wasn't like what I wanted. So I've got to tell her this morning that I've rewritten all her work, which is not good. So the team thing I'm not good with. Clients, I just feel they come to me. I don't really know how to go and get clients. I do find it quite hard to be visible. I have all the knowledge of how other people go and get them, but I just feel like, well, they'll just come to me. It always has been that way with resumes and a lot of referrals and things. So I feel like that. I do feel like I have this very romantic notion of things just always working out. Like, we got the house price that we wanted. The market over here is nuts. So we're going to be renting before we buy again. I put in one application for one house that I really liked, and we got it. And everyone's just floored, going, well, there were 30 people at that open. I said, I know, but I just really wanted that house. And I didn't have a plan B if it didn't work out. And so and it's really sort of good having that sometimes, but I think it stalls me, 2 years not really doing any work, not having any income, surviving, just living off Cameron's income, because I don't know what to do and I don't know what feels right. And I wait for things to feel right. So with this project that I'm doing at the moment, now I'm like, how can I turn this into something I want to do? I'm in the garden throwing the ball for the dog yesterday, and I was like, right, I can package it up. I can, put a lot of instruction in. I can sell it to female business owners who don't know how to recruit people. And I get all these great ideas. And then it's like, does it feel right? Is it
going to be too much work?
Yeah. Is it too much?
Yeah.
Does it feel right? What do I want to do with that? And then I just end up stalling and moving on to the next idea. Yeah. And that's, I think that's my biggest thing. I was diagnosed with ADHD last September. And that
really? You don't say.
Yes, I know. And I remember it was actually my son was going through the process. He's 12 and he kept sending me TikToks about female ADHD. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then I think the calls in the boot camp group about you, Denise. And so that's been quite insightful. But I feel like a lot of my ADHD traits, my impulsiveness, some of the inattentive daydreaming stuff are also very much in that romantic category, and sort of fit with that. But so I'm on medication now, and that's definitely helped with like my focus and getting things done. But luckily it hasn't actually affected any of those nicer romantic parts. But I did feel, and I remember thinking it sort of, I felt that it tied in very well. I felt a lot of the romantic things, I was going, oh, that's what my doctor says is ADHD. But yeah, luckily they're still there. So I think for me, the procrastination is not good. And just that feet has to feel right as being a big sabotage, because sometimes I think you just have to push through that and just, you know, get the strategy and the boring stuff done and yeah, make things happen. So yeah, it's
thanks,
quite a lot
Kate.
of sabotages for me.
Just your final thoughts of like, what did you tweak and change in your business after taking SMA and knowing that you're a romantic, having the permission for things to be easy? Did you change things? Did you change who you worked with? Did you change your prices? Did you change your business model? Did you quit things and let things go? Were you able to, create stuff that makes it flow for you as a romantic? So,
okay, I think the biggest thing that I got was learning about the other archetypes and figuring out who I did and didn't want to work with. So I definitely had clients in the past that, I used to feel really intimidated by, or I'd feel like, they were really grown up, they were really sensible, they were really good with money, and even like friends in my life where I just think, oh, I can't do that with them, or I can't charge them that because they're going to be scrutinizing every little word I write, every little thing I do to see if they get value. And so when I learned about the other archetypes, I was like, oh, well, that all makes sense, because I love working with other romantics or, nurturers, or there's a definite kind of type of person. And then when I sort of learned more about it, like I never read T's and C's. I've spent, big bucks on courses that I've just bought on a whim, where I'm sitting there afterwards going, you've just spent like $3,000-4,000 on a course. You don't even know what it's about. You haven't really, you've just got that high level, view. So, that's very much me. And I think I was like, I just kind of want to work with people that are a bit more spontaneous, that feel that it's right for them and they want to jump in and they don't want to be bogged down with all the T's and C's and, working out every tiny little financial detail around it. So it really helped me to go, right, I don't have to work with everybody. I don't have to work with all those, for me, so things like accumulators. I've just realized my 12-year-old son, bizarrely, is an accumulator. And I'm like, how did that happen? That's like my lowest. Like, how did that possibly happen that you're an accumulator? Because that's going to be an issue as he grows up, or a learning experience for me. But I feel uncomfortable with working with people like that. So realizing that if I'm working with other romantics, if I'm working with nurturers and just, I kind of see it as like the softer side of the profiles. I do much better. I think, again, I absolutely hate being on the phone. I can come across as being quite extroverted, but I'm an INFP or ENFP, with Myers-Briggs, depending on where I'm at, but I'm on that cusp. But I absolutely hate being on the phone. I don't answer the phone if I don't know what number it is. Half the time I don't answer the phone when I do know who it is. I'm like, just text me or message me. Like, don't call me. I can't commit to doing, lots of call. If I had to talk to more than 2 people in a day, I'd be done. I'd be, burnt out. So I think realizing that I don't have to do those kind of things, I think that really helped me. So I think understanding more, rather than me feeling inadequate or going, I'm a bit disorganized, or, fantasizing about all these things, or having, no plan and no strategy. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I've probably got through 2 courses. One, I know I absolutely loved the first half of the course because it was so detailed, the best detail that I've ever had on understanding your niche and things like that. But as soon as it got to the bit where they're like, you have to pick up the phone, you have to do sales, or you have to call people, I'm like, no, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not doing that. I'm out. Just not happening. And there's a couple of coaches that I really love what they do, but they're really focused on the phone call. You have to make the sales call. And I'm like, can't I just email or message or something? Or can't I just put my stuff out there? So then they just message me and go, yeah, I really want to work with you. Because that's what I've done with people. I've never spoken to them, but I'm like, I love your stuff. I just want to work with you. So I think having that understanding of what other types are like and how they interact with my type and what that dynamic is, you know, I think that's been probably the biggest, probably the biggest thing that I've taken from that. And just that, you know, the making things easier part is, you know, like not doing the sales calls. I don't really work during the day. I've got the kids, I have to get them to school and back, which is quite far away. I do different things, but then, you know, I'll work in the morning, I'll work late at night, and I don't have to answer to anyone or have them go, why are you working at 10 o'clock at night? Or why aren't you available at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? It's like, because I don't want to be, you know. So it's realizing that I do work in a more fluid way, and that's totally okay if that's, you know, what works for me. Stuff everybody else, and, you know, just focusing on me and how I can make it work without following other people's plans. So it's like you said, Stacey, where you start listening to all these people, and I had to just unfollow so many people on Instagram because I'm like, I don't want a social media strategy. I don't want to hear the word strategy. And I think it starts to affect you when you take on too much of other people's stuff. And it's just listening to your intuition again and going, no, I can do it my way. I can just muddle along, do it my way. A bit of strategy and planning to make sure the procrastination doesn't set in, you know, and no sales calls. So yeah, it's been good.
I appreciate your time so much. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your ideas and your generous sharing with each other.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.